Hey, how's it going, everyone? So, I just want to talk quickly here about how law school knowledge applies to everyday life and how it could be useful for whatever you're doing. And I'm just thinking about this because a lot of people wonder, is there, any other benefits to law school if, you're not going to practice law? And I haven't been practicing for other people outright by and large, for a bit of a time now. I did practice before doing juvenile defense, doing not for profit stuff, and a couple other things. And I still did, little odds and ends here and there for myself. But by and large, most of what I've used it for in recent years has been my own business and my own business things. So just talking about a couple things related to law school, how it might help you, I think could also give you some insight into the kind of skills that you can use for yourself, from law school. And I'd say the number one thing for that, for me at least, was contract law. So contract law, pervades pretty much everything in life. I mean, you're signing contracts pretty much all the time. Whether it's shrink wrap, you open up some software and there's some contract there, or you sign up for some service, or you click up in a screen on a website for some terms of service agreement, or accepting some software licensing agreement, or purchasing a car and things like that. So knowing contracts and contract law can definitely help you, especially if you're going to be writing your own or using your own. And for me, I mean, I did that all the time related to entertainment and media. I made many contracts for talent, that is for production, film production, music production, for photography relating to like releases from either clients or for other people, and use those kinds of skills for even just reading waivers of liability for signing up for some theme park attraction or something. I mean, contracts is really one of the core things from law school that just can carry with you anywhere. It's something that you're going to just naturally be engaged in all the time, and being able to like read and actually understand what the terms mean and be able to meaningfully either consent or reject an offer of terms is pretty important. And frankly, it's kind of scary how few people actually know what they're even signing on. A lot of people just blindly sign things and sign away their rights or sign away some type of power or privilege just because they're ignorant about reading what's on the paper. And that's kind of sad and scary to think about, that a lot of people have that mentality. And I think it's fostered by and large by people thinking that the government's just going to bail them out, especially in class action lawsuits in California. People just thinking, whatever, I'll just sign, and if the problem goes on, maybe I'll just sue later and try to get rid of the contract. But that's just poor business. It's poor business thinking. And so if you want to be successful, especially if you're doing businesses of any kind, starting your own company or doing things, out there selling goods, arranging for the manufacturer of goods or whatever, I mean, contract law is so ridiculously important. From choosing, where you would litigate, choosing the law, choosing the terms of, who's going to do what when. I mean, that to me it's probably one of the biggest benefits of going to law school. Really, is just thinking through how you manage or negotiate contract terms, for anything, whether it's just signing onto someone else's or coming up with your own. And outside of that, law school, if you take the criminal justice side, can be pretty useful. Just understanding, what you can or can't do without, incurring some legal dangers or liabilities there. But I'd say pretty much outside of those areas, especially with contracts, things get to, kind of get a little bit more slim and narrow. As to what could actually apply on a day-to-day basis, outside of like contract or criminal law, then it starts to get a little bit iffy. You get corporations and stuff like that if you're going to do business. So understanding some of those structures can help. But in terms of the day-to-day, activities and things you could expect, definitely contracts is like the number one thing that could really save your life, or make or break a deal, or whatever it is that you want to do, whatever you want to sign up for, buy, sell, etc. So I think that's just like an interesting food for thought when it comes to the value of law school. And of course, law school isn't like all contracts and stuff like that. I mean, I took the typical contracts 1 and 2, and I took some other classes where contracts were discussed with like construction law and other stuff that I was just filling for electives. But I found it pretty boring. But I found some elements to thinking through contracts at large, were more helpful. But it's definitely something that you should weigh, even if you don't end up going to law school, is just the nature of contracts and the terms of contracts, because far too often people do silly things by not reading and just thinking, yeah, whatever, I just put my name down, I'll try to get out of it later, but they end up hurting themselves in the long term by not reading through everything. So it's important to read your contracts, and if you're going to go to law school for other reasons, if you're worrying like, oh, well, will I be able to do something else with it or use it, that's pretty much the main thing, is thinking through contracts of life. All right, everybody, I will talk to y'all later.